Hello, thank you for joining me. I'm Stephen Englander. This is my Between the Spreadsheets live show. So again, thank you for joining me, and thank you for my live audience, people that have come to see me tonight. Bit of a serious show tonight. No, not really, but I did want to mention about how a lot of businesses are now recovering from COVID, facing Brexit crap and coming through it. People don't realise that they actually have a better business than they think they've got. In fact, I'll prove to you that you've already got within your business everything you need to achieve everything you want. We just need to bring it out. And some businesses are doing very, very well at the moment. Some people are not, but that's because they're not focused on where they want to be. You do need to promote more and more and more. And we've got wonderful things like TikTok and YouTube and Facebook and all the other social media. And the difference between social media today, and I have this on good authority because I was interviewing a gentleman called John Cooper today, who is in that world. He's a comedian, and he's transitioned from being. I can't use that word with you, can I? Transitioned.
What?
I don't know. I just so
you're going to try and paint me as a transphobe now as well, are you?
So he's gone from being in the stand-up comedian into business, and what we're talking about, which was really, really good. Do watch the interview with John. It'll be up tomorrow or the next day. But we were saying that in the old days, you'd go knocking on doors, you'd pick up your phone, you'd go out giving leaflets, you'd just be talking to people, and then later on you had networking, where you'd go to networking events like BNI and Chamber of Commerce and all these types of all still good. But now you've got social media, so all you have to do is sort of put things out about your products, and it's really good. I mean, an example of mine is a client of ours. I've known him for years. He runs a fish and chip shop, and he's been doing TikToking, and he's had literally millions of viewers on his TikToks. You know, in fact, Graham, roll his TikTok.
Hiya, it's Carl from Tony's Chippy again. Loads of people asking for a battered sausage, okay? But today we're going to do this fella. Look at the size of that. A big, foot-long sausage, a battered. Here it goes. Right, so there it is, look at that beauty. 12-inch, foot-long sausage, 70% Irish pork, the most meat content you can get in a sausage. It's got to have a bit of fat in it, otherwise it won't cook properly. Bit of salt and vinegar, right? Let's cut this little fella open. Look at that, hear that. Nice. There it goes. I don't eat those a lot, but fantastic.
Now, don't you just fancy a chippy dinner now? And that's the point. You know, just all he's doing is battering his sausage, and we all want one now. And that's what you should be doing. Now what I've done is, you know, I've got this studio here. Well, we're moving the studio upstairs, and we've got a lot more space. And we're going to put events on.
Why haven't I heard about this?
Because we didn't want you to know.
Oh, yeah.
Graham, when you can come into work with proper trousers on and not short trousers, we'll tell you a lot more. But no, seriously.
Fair enough.
We're moving upstairs, and what I want to offer out there is that at the basis of good, strong business is networking and social media. So I want to say, come in, we'll film you. Or if you don't feel comfortable, then we'll work around that. Put events on, bring people in, and you can use our studio. We can fit about 80 people, Hayden, would you say?
About 80, yeah.
About 80 people can watch. So you can bring as many people as you want. We've got full, filming equipment and experienced filmmakers that will film you. You can pitch to your audience, and it's totally free of charge. Not only that, we'll give you some excerpts for TikTok, some guidance on how to present to social media, and we can have a laugh. And this isn't going to cost you anything. Just get bums on seats, and everything is totally free to you. It doesn't matter where you are. Come on down. Just give me a ring, or my PR team, and you can come in and use all our equipment. There's a plug, and it's a good plug, that, isn't it? Free. All this studio, all this advice, all this software, everything. And if it's like one guy's taking me up on it, and he wants to run an auction,
Oh, yeah?
So it's going to have people in the auction. And at the same time, the auction could be broadcast to live as well.
That does sound cute, yeah. That sounds adorable.
Yeah. But you can do what you want. Another facility we've got.
It does.
Well, I know it doesn't.
We've already got the slappy thing.
The clapper.
Yeah.
You've given a lot of people that.
Clapper? That's mine. You can't use it.
Anyway, we had a gentleman down before, but he was going to come on and speak, but he chickened out. But basically, we've got another facility for people, and it's stock finance, trade finance. So if you're starting up a business or you want to do some deals and you've not quite got the funds for it, they'll fund you on the basis of what you're buying and what you're selling. So that's a service that we've become the main agents for, and we can certainly help you package the deals right, so you can get this pretty much unlimited finance depending on the deals. So it's all exciting going on here. So do contact me if you need some deals financing. I'm not going to give you any money, but you know that we can arrange for this, and it's all good stuff. We can arrange for your career into presenting and video. But if you don't feel like you want to present, or you don't feel confident, I'll sit down with you and pitch it with you, so I can ask you the right questions, or I can, we can work around it. So don't worry about that. Anyway, just one other thing about events that you might remember that the government, there were some insurance schemes that the government would reimburse you if you had an event and it was cancelled. So a few people decided to not put events on even now, because it's, they get the insurance, so why bother putting the events on? So, but the government are stepping in to make sure that there's more guarantees, so that the relevant insurance companies will give you the right sort of backing, that if you do put an event on and it does get cancelled because of COVID, then you'll at least be reimbursed. If you want more information on that, just type in, go into the government website, and they'll explain how the facility works. That's that bit. Now we're coming on to.
That's the most aggressive thing you've done all day.
No, it's just it got stuck on the because you clip them together instead of using a proper thing. You staple them like 57 times and it won't come off. And you use manly stale. Talking about manly stuff, I saw this advert for a doggy daycare centre, and it said proper dogs. It was just called Proper Dogs, and Alsatians and Dobermans and proper dogs. We've got a dog at home. She's called Kizzy. Do you want to see her? You're running the picture. This is Kizzy. This is our little Pom. Not a proper dog, but cute. So anyway, I thought I'd move on to the next subject now, because I just thought I'd show you a pretty picture of the dog. People are always looking to offset income with expenditure, and that in turn gives them lower reportable profits and therefore less tax to pay. So obviously, if you've spent money in the business, then you obviously, as much as you spend, you want to knock it off your profits so you pay less tax. Most things are fairly obvious, because the basic rules are, as long as the expenditure is for the business, then you can claim it. Some things are grey area, and some things are definitely not. Like, you're not going to claim for sex aids. Graham has tried, but then again, if you're in that type of business, the adult entertainment business, maybe they become a something that you can claim for, offset against profits. Presumably it'll be clean. But you've got other things. I'm like, somebody asked me a while ago, what about, I bought these swords, can I, because it's decoration, can I offset them against them? And the answer is, well, if you've got that type of business, or you're a sword swallower, then why not? Sorry, Graham, I'm talking about things that you're very close to your heart.
This is relentless tonight, isn't it?
No, I'm just trying to get that point across.
None of this is on the show notes, by the way.
A lot of it is a grey area and proving the expenditure. Like gym memberships, we were talking before.
Yeah.
And, is a gym membership...
No, how could you possibly justify that as a work expense?
This is part
pure vanity.
It's about giving that argument down. Like, we were talking to a gentleman in our audience earlier who's a firefighter. See, I didn't say fireman, a firefighter. And he is, because he goes to the gym a lot, he has to have an excessive amount of fitness, you know, or if he's a bodybuilder in business, and therefore the gym membership becomes part of making something for the business. It's all about that argument. Handbags, you know, well, you're not going to get a Chanel handbag, but maybe if it's a prop, or maybe if you do need a handbag because you've got to carry stuff around all over the place. So it's about making the business expense fit. And we've got things like, what else did we have? Somebody asked me about if they bought an apartment in another city. And the thing is, well, not really. But then again, if they're working from that city and they have to go and stay there, then you've got an argument. And of course, accountancy fees can you offset them against your tax bill? And the answer is yeah, as long as it's not an investigation where HMRC win, because then it's not normally a business expenditure, because you've lost a case, which means you weren't doing things right. So it's like a penalty. So, you know, sometimes they've got to be worded in the right way. But we've all got dogs. We all like our little dogs or big dogs. Can you claim a dog as a tax set-off? You know, no. I'm not talking about some of your girlfriends, Graham. I'm saying if you've got a dog and it's you can argue that it's being used as a guard dog, or why are you laughing at me? Seriously, if you've got a guard dog, then it becomes a capital expense, so you can claim it.
I know, this is like your clients, isn't it? That because they always wait for the taxman, literally, don't they, with dogs?
Do you know, I had that one. Seriously.
The irony being that they're claiming that dog as part of the thing.
You know what? There was honestly, I think I've mentioned it before. We were in Gravesend years ago, and we had a guy that had a tax investigation, a VAT investigation, and he had 2 Dobermans, and he wouldn't let them in. We had to go down to Gravesend to calm everything down and be there while the inspector was there. But still, and the thing is, everything's got its place. And as long as you can prove that it's for the benefit of the business, you've got an argument with pretty much anything. I mean, I don't know how I would get Kizzy, my little doggy. Put the picture up again to remind people what we're talking about.
I'm on it, man. You don't have to.
Well, I don't know what you do. Could we get...
Just relax, yeah. I've got that.
Guard dog status for that dog?
No, I don't
but
think you
there
can use it
might
as a
be an
flannel.
argument. There might be an argument that she could be an emotional support animal. You know, so bring her into the office. All my accountants are all stressed out to high heaven because no one brings in paperwork properly. And so take the dog around, everyone pets the dog, and the karma production goes up. There could be an argument for it, you know, could put it. What do you reckon?
So you're telling me you're going to start feeding your dog through the books here?
Well,
claim it as an expense?
I'm saying that if you've got the right argument, then they'll listen.
I think it's genius.
Thank you.
Genuinely.
There's a workaround on anything.
Is Graham your emotional support person?
Do you know what Graham is to me? It's like, do you know what? There's someone worse off than me. And it makes you feel better, doesn't it?
Yeah, go on, whatever you need to tell yourself, yeah.
Well, okay, just on to making yourself feel bad.
You're in a right mood today. You know, I thought you were in a good mood today.
I am in a good mood, but
You're
I'm just...
in a right mood, aren't you?
Nice thing to say.
You're telling me I'm not saying nice things. Yeah, is that what we're doing right now?
So...
I'm going, bye.
Do you know, I keep reading things, the headlines saying that VAT's going up, this is going up, that's going up. And I saw one today saying, VAT's going up. But it's not. It's not. People are getting confused. I don't know why they do this to sensationalise things. VAT isn't going up. You know, we had the 5% VAT on entertainment and food and stuff like that. Well, VAT is going up to 12.5% and then back up to the 20% rate. But the VAT's not going up. Not. There's no plans for it. There's lots of other plans. I mean, HMRC are talking about moving year-end dates so that everyone's got the same year-end date, and that means that some people are paying tax a lot earlier. But that's something we'll talk about in another show. Yeah, no. I just thought you might want to. You
want me now, do you?
Not really.
Hey?
Not really.
Oh,
do you know,
little bit of support, is it?
You're in a bad mood because Hayden's been sat there staring at you for the past hour. Hayden, just show everyone what you've been doing to him.
Nothing.
Just staring at him.
Honestly, that isn't even a problem. The problem is the chat is in right now. They're calling me a Nazi based off your constant smears.
Probably not just Stevens.
No,
I've been
no.
saying it for years.
You don't help yourself. Because I don't actually just call you a Nazi. I say you're extremely anti-Semitic.
Yeah,
You hate everybody.
You're very specific about it, aren't you? Because they got disabled and all sorts,
No,
didn't they?
you don't like those either, though.
What's wrong? That is terrible.
He's
People can't.
very ableist.
Really? This is a business show.
Anyway,
So
Tom's
that's
with
not
us.
going up.
Tom's
Yeah.
with us. He said, "Good evening, Stephen.
Hello, Tom.
Always thoroughly enjoy tuning into your shows.
Thank
You
you.
remind me of a Jewish
Yeah.
Richard Whiteley from Countdown."
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
I'll have that.
He does have that. He does. Do you know what?
Is Richard Whiteley Jewish?
I
No, that's what he says.
No, I'm saying, is he Jewish?
I think he's dead.
well, he's obviously not
Was he
Jewish
Jewish?
enough.
No, it's just that on being on a program like that, he'd have to have a certain degree of intelligence. What?
Are we just gonna?
Have I missed that one? No.
Yeah, that was a miss. Yeah.
While we're on problems, this is something I want some opinion from you, Graham, and anybody else out there.
Go on.
How important is how much of a problem is parking for small firms?
Oh, here we go. This is McDonald's again.
No,
isn't
no,
it?
it's not.
No,
It's not.
Gee, every week, right? Because you sat there for 2 hours, clearly signed. Do not sit here. You'll
And
be
now
charged.
I'm 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But how important? I mean, today, for instance, you can see my hair's a bit dishevelled because I was going to have a haircut, and I was going to have a clean up and maybe have a shave, And I went to a few places and I could not park anywhere,
It is a big problem.
so I didn't go. So my £12.50 wasn't spent on having a shave and a haircut. But how big a problem is it, and what can we do about it?
It's huge. The problem is when we make new builds, like, in the city and stuff.
Yeah.
In other cities, when they build new buildings, they'll dig down deep and do car parks every single.
It just seems to be.
And we don't do it.
At every phase, every area of attack, small firms come under it. So it makes you think: is it even worth having bricks and mortar premises? I mean, when they build these new estates and shopping centres, they're so expensive. Is it even worth going into them? And that's why I encourage online.
I do everything online,
Yeah,
sir.
I mean, there's a lot of shops out there, and if people are already parked up and they've gone into a multi-storey car park for £30 a minute, then they're out there, they're shopping. But I wonder what we could do about it. We've got a couple of connections with people in locally. Is it worth starting a campaign about parking? More parking? No, it's not.
You're
is
on the
it?
losing side. We do need it,
But we're not going to get
you're on
anywhere,
the losing
are we?
side.
Be
No,
interesting
no.
what people have got to say about that, though.
I can always park wherever I want to go. So therefore, the world is a perfect place.
You never go anywhere.
Exactly, I'm very happy.
I wonder if I can get one of those tickets that say that I'm disabled.
Oh, I should think so.
Yeah, mentally disabled. That'd be cheap. Then I can just park anywhere.
Sorry for tapping the desk, by the way. It's because you said shave and a haircut, 2 bits. It's automatic now. I'm not explaining shaving a haircut. No, I'm not doing that. I'm just going to fade the camera.
Right. Do you know there are some companies that are doing quite well out there? Have you ever heard of a company called Warhammer?
Yep.
They made £150 million last year. That's throughout all these bad times. And in my opinion, I think they're a great company because what they do is they concentrate on their core business, like the games. They make fantasy games, Dungeons and Dragons and stuff like that, and they've got their own characters. And not only that, but they produce their own videos, and they've even made a film or two, and they publish books. But everything around this is all about their own characters. So they're only selling their own stuff, and I think they've got a shop in the centre of Manchester as well. So I've got to hand it to them. They're so passionate, and it's like a cult, isn't it? It's their own little world that they've created, and people buy into it, and it's paid off for them. And that's the thing with businesses. I think businesses that are passionate about what they do and they buy into their own profits, I think that's great. That's why I like Tony's chippy thing. He's so happy about TikToking his sausage. You see the size of the sausage, he's so proud of it.
Yep. A foot long it was.
I just think if you buy into your own products and you create your world, I think it's lovely to be, like, let's worship at the accounts direct for all things tax and bookkeeping.
This is
What a plug.
Tony's your man for that, isn't it? You talk about sort of like fixating, like, I will only use Warhammer, I will only do that. Tony's the guy here that they have to speak to Tony.
Yeah,
Why is that?
just because he likes talking to people.
Have you put this story in tonight? Because this is one of yours. Have you put
Oh,
this
go on.
in? Is this your little sideways, sneaky way of giving Tony a little salute and saying, "Hey, man, I respect you"?
Yeah, let's go with
I
that.
knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Well done, Tony. But it's not just Tony. We've got a whole team here all the time.
Yeah.
It's just Tony can often deal with the more difficult people because he's
I've only got one problem here.
gone.
And I'm probably going to lower the tone slightly, but I do know there is that shop in town.
Yeah,
What's it called? It's called Games Workshop, isn't it?
Yep.
right.
I've seen the people that go in there to play games.
I'm not talking about people.
I don't think that the only list they're on is a mailing list for
No.
this place. Can I just say that?
What?
Yeah, you know what I'm
I
saying.
don't. Just say it again.
They're on more than one list.
Who's on more than one
The
list?
people that shop in places like that.
Well, maybe, but
Buy those
Game
little figures,
Warhammer have done
play
very
little
well
war
out
games.
of it. So if they want to go to places that Graham goes to,
It's a
good
very
luck to them.
specific niche, is
I was
what I'm
gonna-
saying.
I was going to say, actually, Biscuit Bates has said that it was great when he was 15, and that's pretty much when I did it. It does confuse me when grown-ass men do it. Like,
Yeah.
it is a bit confusing.
Do what?
Don't know.
But I
But I was just saying,
it's money though, isn't it?
The point I was making behind Warhammer was that they are marketing their own products.
Oh, they've
Yeah.
nailed
They've
it.
created a
Yeah.
world around their products.
And we'll sit here going, "Ugh," and
don't.
then we'll spend fortunes on our little niche things that we're into.
Yeah,
so
but
I can't
to be
judge.
honest, to excel at our niche, you don't have to be on a list.
Well, I don't know, man. There's a lot of sex offenders in the
I'm
media
not the same
industry.
niche as you.
I'm
Don't-
just
we're
saying,
not on the same level.
I
though.
was
Let's
talking
not-
about
Do you know,
cameras and
just
media.
changing the subject completely before Graham gets too excited and we have to start cleaning things. Sometimes I go, because Graham doesn't do his job properly, I have to go looking for stories that I want to talk about. So I've noticed that when I'm looking for stories about accountancy, and you know, what comes up are things about theft or corruption or software. Some accountant somewhere's been arrested. I don't understand it. You know, you think they'd be cleverer than that, but there is at the moment behind this thing. There's a name and shame for companies like John Lewis, who have been underpaying staff. They're not even been paying them their minimum wage. Which, you know, my attitude on minimum wage. I think the work arena is mostly a place where you can go in and do good stuff and create their own income. I'm sure a lot of employers would pay people a lot more if they took the initiative. But even so, there's a list now of all those companies that have underpaid minimum wage. So, you know, that's what the government have been doing for a few years now. They just name and shame people that don't pay tax, don't pay VAT, don't pay all these types of things, and it's out there. It's interesting, though, that in all these areas, you'd think that accountants would keep people on the straight and narrow, that, you know, at least if they're doing wrong and they know they're doing wrong, not just because they don't know what they're doing. And then if accountants are working for firms that are doing so much wrong, maybe there is something about accountants allowing people to get away with crap. But, you know, they're obviously not very good ones because they got caught. I mean, I know a little while ago, was it a few months ago? Was it last year with Boohoo? When Boohoo, didn't they had some problems with underpaying staff, or was it slave condition?
Underpaid.
It was workshop,
sweatshop competition.
yeah, sweatshop. It was
Yeah.
terrible. Well, you know, I mean, people have choices, I suppose. Well,
I've never known anyone as casual as you.
I
about
was looking.
sweatshops.
Well,
You're
you
like,
know.
well, you know, minimum wage.
it gets them into the market, doesn't it? It
Yeah.
gets people working. I mean, I'm probably not very good having this argument, but okay, let's just move on to look at. I went and looked at Boohoo's accounts on Companies House. I didn't realise it's how complicated it was, because they've got like this group and that group, and you know, all over the place. But what I did understand is that they've got the consolidated holdings, the group of companies, which is it Pretty Little Things? Anyway, but what always confused me, that like a company like that turned over like nearly £100 million, and its net profit was about 2 million, and the whole group only made about just under 6 million, 5.5 million or something. And I couldn't really tell where those profits were coming from. So it seems that in percentage terms, a lot of smaller businesses turning over a few £100,000 a year are actually making a much bigger net profit, and that's, you know, that's over and above the wages that the directors have, you know, often take. So it just shows you can compete in these markets. It's bigger isn't necessarily better. Corruption isn't necessarily the way to go. So if these guys are paying under the national wage limit, but they still manage to make so little profit, it just, I don't know, a lot of questions need to be asked, but I'm not going to spend my life researching these guys. And, you know, if it creates value and it creates business in society, so be it. A lot of public companies don't make a great deal of money because they've got different agendas going on. Not necessarily corrupt them, but, you know, maybe a chat for another day. At the moment, because we're talking about people that do have a few quid, which I hope you do, and if you don't, I'm sure you will have, especially if you follow some of the advice on this program from my accountants. But investment rates are terrible. I mean, you can keep money in the bank, and some places are paying like 1/3%, not even 1%. And I suspect that there will come a time when they're actually charging you to hold your money, which is a bit odd because it's all digital anyway. But you know, such low incomes, and people are always asking me, what should I invest money in? And everyone always thinks property. And yeah, I suppose over time property does increase in value, but I don't always think it gives a great investment return. I mean, I've been looking at properties, and the most you get is maybe 8%. But by the time you pay the agents, times of it not being let, damage done by the letters, you could be down to 4%. So you might as well just put it in a good savings plan or a good ISA, which also doesn't achieve very much, but at least it's safe. If you do want to invest in things, I've always thought investing in businesses, or if you want to invest in property, I would say holiday homes, glamping sites, all that type of thing, which are a little bit of a business, but they're also an investment. So if you're going to do that, and one of the reasons I say is because you get a much higher return, because people will pay a lot more for a week or 10 days in a little cottage somewhere than they will to rent the same cottage on a permanent basis. You've also got the tax element where any interest or buying cost of the property can be offset against your rent. So if you've made, I've seen clients that they've made £10,000 on a property, the interest rate has been at £10,000, so it's a nil cost, a nil profit. But because it's a permanent home, they've been taxed on the 10,000 because they've not been allowed to claim the interest rates. And this is the way it's going. But if you've got a holiday let, you can claim the entire amount of interest that you pay. So there are tax advantages in having a holiday home to rent out. Obviously, if you use it yourself, then you won't get the full year's allowances on it. So that's really what I was looking at. Don't always automatically think that put money into property, not make any money out of that property, and then hope that in years to come you'll make a gain. It's not quite that simple. Even buying properties and doing them up, by the time you finish paying the traders, workmen to come and do it, you could be actually losing money and have to keep the property for 10 years before you get your money back. So unless you've got your own team putting it together, you might have difficulties. So if you are going to buy properties and you do want to flip them, do them up and sell them, then make sure you do a proper budget before you go into it to know exactly what it's going to cost. That's all I'm saying. And there are other investments other than property. Now, I'm not an investment guy, but I'm not looking at investments by doing them in these like formal plans. I'm saying you can look around at different businesses, different ideas, and that might be the way to go. At the end of the day, if you invest in a business, you get a hell of a lot more than 1% a year, or you're probably getting 1,000% return on things like this. I know a glamping site, I was looking at some figures, they were giving a 60% return per annum, as opposed to the same sort of expenditure going into buying a bungalow and renting it out to Mr. and Mrs. Jones, which might get you 4% or 5%. So that's what I'm saying about investments. And now I'm going on to some of the stuff that Graham's given me to talk about. So GCSE A-level results. We've had some really good.
Yeah, I love the way you just look over at me like
because
it's
you were
ridiculous.
shouting at me about it before.
Well,
as if you got good. Did you get good results at school?
I didn't really do school, to be honest.
I thought as much. No, I did think as much.
I didn't. Yeah.
Funny enough, it's a conversation I had this morning. just coincidence. And I was saying that, so many kids have done really, really well on GCSE levels.
Yeah.
And yet I think I taught half of them as thick as shit. So it tells me that I think that it's that they're either so dumbed down or there's some bad grading going on.
Well, there was no exams this year, and it's the highest A's ever,
Right.
isn't it?
Well, I would challenge. I was saying I've just gone back and was rereading. I'm really enjoying it. Do you remember The Count of Monte Cristo by Alexander
What?
Dumas? It's a it's a book. And there's my tablet thing going off again. Honest to God, I need to turn my phone on silent. No, so
Or just change the alarm.
have you heard of it though?
I have heard of it, yeah.
Okay, but it was traditionally not for children, but a younger person's book. It's I'm sure you know what it's about. But I would challenge most kids today to read that book, even have the patience to get through all 1,200 pages of it in small print, and understand what they're saying. The references to Napoleon, to all things going on in France in the late 1700s, early 1800s, and I would challenge them to even understand the writing. And I think that's the shame, and that's why that's an example of why I don't think that these grades are particularly worthwhile having. I don't believe it's real figures, and I think it's a shame because you get people into the workplace that are not properly trained. They don't really understand anything around them, and it's a shame because there's a lot of very intelligent people that if they were educated a little bit better or more specialised, I think they could offer a lot more. And I also don't understand at schools, while we're on this thing, why they don't teach things like a bit of bookkeeping or money management or a little bit of business, because that's the world we live in. I mean, people do things like art and drama. And I think, why? When there's maths and literature and, business, and I don't understand. Did you do woodwork at school?
I did, yeah.
I did.
I did.
I was shit at
I
it, and
liked
what
it.
a waste of a subject for me.
Well, I did it. I made art with it.
You did what?
I did art. Like I made a big
and you made a
parrots.
career in it.
And well, it was just because they used to let you smoke.
I just.
So I was like, this is where
do you
I
know there
am.
were some kids in my school that did driving as a subject. Driving. I mean, it really, really pays off to do stuff like that, doesn't it? So yeah, I'm sorry, I don't look at the GCSE and A-level results and think, wow, haven't they done well? I think it's a shame for the really bright kids that could probably do a lot better. And I think they're setting up the not so bright kids with, I did well as well, instead of saying, no, you didn't, but let's find something that you can do properly.
Do you remember last year? No, well, not last year. The year before, I think it must have been now, where the kids were taking their exams and they had to take away the traditional clock because
Right.
too many kids couldn't read it. They could only read digital time rather than analog.
Well-
and for me at that point, I don't really care what you got on your exams. If you can't read a clock face, I'm not really
Well, if
interested in
everything's
working with
digital
you.
now, but
Yeah, but even if you're doing your GCSEs,
Yeah.
you should be at a level of intelligence where you can just work out what a clock means. It's only 12 hours.
Yeah.
It's not like a hard.
No, I'm with you on it. I don't understand the schools, but I think we said last week that businesses need good people. It shouldn't really just be businesses having to train people in the basic stuff, including customer service, how to talk to people, how not to grunt.
I know some people who actually avoid interviewing people who've been to university.
Yeah.
Because as far as they're concerned, it's like, right, well, you've gone up to the age 23, 24, and you've never had a job, you've never been in a challenging environment. I don't want you through the door.
No.
I'd rather have someone that's actually had a job and been doing stuff.
Well, yeah.
So they literally they see degree.
I
and
just
go,
think the schools are failing some very
Oh, yes.
decent people. And I was never really, I wasn't opinionated. until
Phone me
really-
about this tomorrow. We'll have a good chat about this tomorrow.
Oh, don't tell me. I don't want to speak to you.
You
We're
liar!
coming
You liar! You know you do.
No, we're going for coffee tomorrow.
Oh, you've got Aiden. haven't
You told me not to tell him.
There we go. There we go.
Should
I
we finish
understand.
with the quote of the day and the Suicide Squad? We can't,
We'll be in a
I don't
mood
really
now.
have time. Why would it be in a mood?
No, you can B team it on Monday then, can't
Do
you?
you wanna come for a coffee
Phone
with us,
me then. No, that's fine.
B team? You think you're on the B team?
I'm already aware that I wasn't invited for the coffee. That's fine. I'll be here picking up
Working.
the pieces to this mess.
We'll be miles away.
Yeah, you'll be miles away going, never does anything that, Graham, whilst I'm grafting.
Yeah, pretty
Um,
much.
Quote of the day. So
Yes.
Suicide Squad. It was surprising, especially for a DC
It was good.
movie.
Yeah, it was.
And
It
I've got King Shark.
You have.
And it's you know what you're doing, right?
Do you know what it sounds like? I've heard that said before.
Go on.
And it always sounds like, please, God, you know what you're doing. Let me have no responsibility and just hope that the person that's left school with A's in their A levels knows what they're doing. Please, you know what you're doing, don't you? As you're slicing through my kidney, you know what you're doing, don't you? What do you take from that, Graham?
Well, he was saying it to the Riddler. So, yeah, it very much was like the guy doing the thinking.
Yeah.
Please do it for me. But you know what? We all need that sometimes. We do.
We noticed something before, though, in the Suicide Squad about the shark,
Go
King
on.
Shark eating people.
No, please. It's the end of the show, mate.
And the lack of variety in the people he ate.
He did eat. So
I think he only ate what was available.
he did.
Okay.
And I think you just have a trouble remembering certain people.
Yeah.
Let's do this off air, though, eh?
Yes, let's
end
do
the
it.
show. It's been great.
Thank you very much for joining me. We're getting through less and less in the business world, but, you know, if you can't have a bit of fun on air in this day and age of total PC and, you know, you can't say this and can't say that, where can you have a bit of fun? Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.